in New Haven, full scholarship on soccer, and then you graduated from there.
I went to UConn, and then I went on to UConn and worked on my master's. And then after UConn, I went to Southern, and I started working on a doctorate. And when I got the principalship, I said, I really didn't need a doctorate anymore, so I just left it in the middle of the road and continued being a principal.
So that just goes to show you, based on Carl Babb's experience, that anything is possible, right? All you got to do is have the right connections and the skills, obviously, because Carl was very good at it, and obviously he was a hard worker.
And
right?
the desire. You got to study, too. I mean, it's not going to be put in your lap. You have to go out there and work for it.
Yes.
And you got to do your work.
And Carl, so you spent a lot of your time here in New Haven, but you always went back to Costa Rica.
I still, to this day, I still go back to Costa Rica. Right now, I have a farm in Costa Rica, so I go back and forth to Costa Rica. And as a matter of fact, I might be leaving down in the next couple of weeks to go down there for 2 more weeks just to see that things are okay.
Tell us about your farm. What kind of farm is it?
I have a lumber farm. Basically,
a lumber?
Lumber farm, yeah, and bananas and plantains.
Oh, that's wonderful. So let's take a quick break, okay? So and we'll learn more about that banana farm and wood farm. That's wonderful. And streaming live at the NewHavenIndependent.org and LaVozHispanaCT.com. This is Norma Rodriguez, your host in K-PASA. And we have in our studio audience, because today we are talking about Costa Rica, the rich coast. You just listened to Carl Babb, who is a retired principal for 35 years from the New Haven public school system. We also have with us Joseph Daly. He has taught English at Hill House High School for 6 years, and he's the currently the director of IDEA, Innovative Design Entrepreneurial Action Academy. We also have with us Glenda Perez, who has taught 3 years at Hill House, and she's a history teacher there for the IDEA Academy. And she's trying to open up a travel abroad program at her school in order to incorporate global awareness with students. We also have 2 of the students with her. We have Nicole Jenkins. She's an only child, and she hails to us from New Hallville section of New Haven, Connecticut. She's a sophomore at James Hill House High School, the IDEA Academy, and she's captain of the math team and is part of the PTO and is also sergeant of arms for the student council. We also have Dwayne Henry, who's also a sophomore, and he hails to us from the Beaver Hill section of New Haven. He's a sophomore. He's at the IDEA Academy, and he's part of the track team, and is also part of the fundraising team for this very important trip to Costa Rica. And who has also joined us, Chuck Charles Cheslock, better known to everyone as Chuck, from the Boulevard Flea Market here in New Haven. Now you would say, what is the owner of the Boulevard Flea Market doing here while we're talking about Costa Rica? Well, ladies and gentlemen, he owns his own sporting fishing business in Costa Rica. So many people from around here go to Costa Rica. So we're tying it all together. We have one from Costa Rica. We have several that want to go and travel and learn about Costa Rica. And then we have a businessman that does business in Costa Rica. Okay, Carl, you were telling us about your farm, okay, in Costa Rica, which is excellent because maybe the students at one time could go and work the farms.
Oh, that sounds good.
Tell us about that farm.
Well, basically, I bought a farm from a Peace Corps guy about 15 years ago, and I was developing coconut and banana and planting, and then we had some lumber, which is laurel, which is a very good type of lumber to build on, but there's a lot of strategic behind these things because the government don't allow you to cut it, even though you have the laurel on your farm. You have to get special permission to really do these things. So I just decided to develop it up rather than just sell it or do anything with it. And I'm looking into some part whereby the government will pay you not to use those lumbers just to keep it growing. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. But the farm, I have about 10 acres right now working. It's 19 acres in total. and I have about 10 acres, which is working with local, like oranges, coconut, apples, and things like that, which is for the daily consumption.
That is wonderful. That's really great. You know, especially now that we're really promoting all of this what do they call it? Natural foods, organic foods.
Organic food.
So that's a perfect place.
And my farm is a not-for-profit farm, because basically when I get the things out of it, I usually take it to the elder homes and give them, like, if I get enough plantains, I take it to the homes, or bananas, I take it, because I really don't have a market. We have a market for it, but it's not much that it's going to generate, so I'd rather just donate it to different homes.
Or maybe we can start an internship program in which, you know, some of the students from here can go over there to Costa Rica, learn how to grow the different and how to deal with farm, and then the work ethics that the students end up getting will not compare.
I must caution you, though, there's a lot of poisonous snakes on my farm, which is in Costa Rica. And I didn't tell you that part, but Costa Rica is a country known for abundantly having poisonous snakes, and real ones too.
Carl, tell us a little bit about, what would entice Americans that have never traveled to want to go to Costa Rica?
Well, I tell you what, the climate is beautiful. The food is excellent. The beaches and the waters is exquisite. So, and you have a lot of sightseeing. You have a rainforest. We have 9 volcanoes. We have volcanoes that are constantly active, and we have volcanoes that are in dormant stage. So if you're looking for an ideal climate, if you go over to the Pacific side, is a climate that's like the weather is now. You get that kind of weather. So the weather is just fantastic. People may ask, what am I doing here? I mean, but I keep going home, so it doesn't make a difference for me. I could come here and stay a month, and then I could go to Costa Rica and stay 2. So,
well, it could be very similar to a lot of the folks, like when I was growing up, a lot of my senior citizens, they're called like the southern birds. You know, they live here in the summertime, here in New England, and then they go to Florida in the wintertime. So I guess you can basically do the same thing, right? Excellent.
But the climate is ideal, and we have black sand beach, we have white sand beach, and we have the normal sand beach. So you have all those kind of, at least in the Atlantic side where I'm from, which is in Limon, we have 3 different color sand beach.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I've seen, when I went to Hawaii, I had an opportunity to see the black sand beaches. So, and then when you go to Panama City, Florida, you know, that's where you see the white beaches, Clearwater, Florida. And then when you come here to New Haven, then you see the brown beaches. A little bit of everything. Okay, now we're going to turn the mic over to Glenda Perez, who is the history teacher and the person behind wanting to take the students from Hill House High School to Costa Rica. Glenda, thank you for being with us. Tell us a little bit. First, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, Norma. Thank you for having us here at your show. I am actually native born from Nicaragua. So I'm neighbors with Mr. Carl Babs. And Mr. Babs, he was also my old high school principal when I went to Wilbur Cross. So we have a lot of history together. I came here to the United States with my mom when I was 3 years old. My father first came here, and it was actually the reverse story from Mr. Babs. My father came first. My mom and I stayed in Nicaragua, and a couple of years later, once he was situated here, then he went and he brought my mom and me over, and we've always lived here in New Haven, Connecticut. I've always been a New Haven resident.
So were you the only one born in Nicaragua?
Yes, I was the only one born in Nicaragua, and I have 2 younger sisters who were born here in New Haven.
And what universities or colleges your sisters go to?
We all go to Southern Connecticut State University. I'm finishing my master's there. This is my last semester. My youngest sister, she is a junior at Southern Connecticut. And my middle sister, she graduated last year and is now at UConn for her master's.
That's wonderful. Okay, so tell us, why Costa Rica, and what is it that you want to do?
Well, I was given the opportunity to take some students to travel abroad, and it's something that we haven't done at my high school, James Hill House. Wilbercross, they do this program every year. And I was one of the students that went at this program when I was attending there, and it was really a life-changing experience. So when I decided to become a teacher, I knew this is something I wanted to bring for my students. And when I was given the opportunity to do so, I said, Mr. Daly, do you want to come and let's just start this up? And he's been with me behind this whole trip. And we chose Costa Rica because it's a country I'm well aware with. I do have cousins who are from Costa Rica. They're from San Jose, la capital. And, I know Spanish. All our students that are going, they're taking Spanish classes, so I thought it would be a great way for them to practice that language immersion. And all our students, they're just crazy about the Hispanic culture. And it's a great country, especially for your first visit, just global visit. That's the reason why we chose Costa Rica.
So Joseph, how are you involved in this Costa Rica trip? Tell us about, first, where do you hail to us from?
Yeah, so my journey to New Haven, teaching in New Haven, isn't as elaborate and interesting. I'm from the faraway land of East Haven, a couple exits down the road here.
The famous city of
yes,
East Haven.
Beautiful beach, But yeah, so I came to Hill House High School a couple years out of college. I started teaching at St. Martin de Porres Academy on the other side of town here, Columbus Ave. And been teaching at James Hill House High School for about 6 years now. This is my 6th year. And as far as getting onto this whole trip thing, I guess I got on Glenda's good side at some point during her 3 years at Hill House, and now we've become close and we've worked together closely for the last few years. So when she brought the opportunity to me and to be a part of this thing, I knew it was something that would be, just an amazing opportunity, not for just going on to a different country, but being able to experience this with our students is something that I know is going to be life changing and a great experience for myself as well.
Joseph, sure. Now I'm going to ask you something very personal, okay? Oh. You come from East Haven. East Haven is, years ago it was considered like where all the Italians that made it in New Haven moved to, okay? Yes. And there wasn't that much diversity there. Right. So how were you able to blend or accept, especially in a school which is considered predominantly African American, right. Hill House High School? Tell us about your experiences being a mainstream, I hate to use the word white, but a mainstream teacher, right. Were you afraid? How did you, tell us about your experience in teaching in a predominantly African American, then later Latino, but more African American than anything.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the idea of being accepting, and that's part of my upbringing. Ever since I was a young kid, I've always been taught to just accept other people, whether there's differences there or no matter what the difference is, skin color, race, ethnicity, the whole nine. That's never been something where, prejudice was never a part of my life. And like I said, that's a part of my upbringing and just experience. As coming to Hill House, being like you said, a predominantly African American school, Hispanic as well. I've only taught in urban settings. So like I said, my entire teaching career is in New Haven, and I absolutely love it. It's something I wouldn't change that. If a different town came calling where the demographics were different, I don't think I'd make that move. I just enjoy my job. I love it. I love getting up every day. The students make it worth it for me.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's really great. Okay, so now we have Glenda who wants to take the students to Costa Rica. We have Joseph who is definitely supporting her 100% in everything that's necessary to make this happen. And we have a Nicole who wants to go. She's a sophomore there, and she hails to us from New Harville, like I mentioned, and she's interested in going to Costa Rica. Nicole, tell us, why do you want to go to Costa Rica?
When I first heard about the trip, my freshman year, everybody was so excited. And they're like, oh my God, I got the package. And I'm like, so did I. So what are we doing? So I really took it upon myself to seriously study in Spanish class, because there might be a chance that I might go and then there wasn't a chance, but either just to learn that culture, just in case I do go on my own when I'm older or something. But when I found out that I was going, it was just like wake up calls, like, Mom, I have to go. Like, Mom, help, say hola, Mom. like talk to me in Spanish. And I can honestly say my teachers, my mom, my principals, everyone just helped a huge deal. Like, and it's gonna be a life-changing experience. Like, I'm a kid from Newhall. Like, I haven't been anywhere, and for me to be like, yeah, I went to Costa Rica when I was 16. It's nothing. Like, so that should be awesome. It's just a wonderful experience to even think about.
Okay. Dwayne, tell us why you want to go to Costa Rica and what enticed you.
Well, I'm from Jamaica, so I'm kind of used to that type of lifestyle, the way they live in Costa Rica. So I just wanted to go there to, like, experience it, you know, because I really like Hispanic people. They're really nice.
So listen, you said you're from Jamaica. When did you come to this country?
I came here in 2011, in January.
So how old were you when you came here?
10.
10 years old.
Yeah.
What was life like for you coming here to America and New Haven?
It was pretty good. I have a lot of family that live around the area, so we weren't really by ourselves because we came here because my grandmother, she did surgery, so we had to come here to, like, you know, take care of her, watch over her, and that's pretty much it.
That's wonderful. We're going to take a quick break right now, and then we'll be right back so that you can know all about Costa Rica. CT.com. Earlier on, we were talking about Costa Rica. We're with 2 students and 2 professors from Hill House High School. And we also had Principal Carl Babs from Costa Rica. Pretty soon, we'll be talking about a sport fishing there in Costa Rica that happens all the way from New Haven, Connecticut, over here from New Haven. We were talking about the students who are planning a trip on April 16th through the 22nd next year, 2016. They're taking 12 students to Costa Rica, and it's a total cost of $2,700 per student. As everyone knows, we're talking about an inner city school. So what we're hoping here will happen is that people will see the need to assist the students in making this a possibility. Because as one of the students mentioned and one of the teachers, this will be a life-changing experience. And especially at the age of 16, experiencing something like this, you know, that person will never be the same. So tell us, Glenda, a little bit about what type of fundraising activities are you doing in order to make this a reality?
Well, we've done quite a few fundraising. We actually had the students go and present this project to the mayor, Tony Harp, and they presented the project to her. She actually donated a good amount towards our trip. Our students were so ecstatic. They were able to meet her, to greet her, and gave their presentation. We sat down at ShopRite, and that was an interesting afternoon. Just sat there asking for donations. We met a lot of great people there, had a lot of good conversations. Made a good amount. We also posted our project online on a website called DonorsChoose.com, where our project is there and people can just donate on the site. We spoke to a lot of different businesses ahead of time to let them know if you're interested. Please give me a call or email me, and I'll email you our website so that you can go up there and post the whatever amount you want to give to help us out. We are getting there, but we do still need a lot of donations, so anybody that's out there that would be willing to donate, even if you want us to go and present the project to you, our students are more than willing to go, give a PowerPoint presentation, and just so you can meet the students that you'll be supporting for this trip. And I'm guessing you can, if you would like to contact me, you can contact Norma Rodriguez, and she'll get me in contact with me. Oh, I can also give you my email, which is perezg614@gmail.com. Perez, Perez, the letter G, and the number 614@gmail.com for any people out there interested in donating anything for this trip and making it possible for our students to travel there.
Okay. Nicole, have you gained any kind of skill in going through this whole thing? Because she mentioned all the different places that you've had an opportunity to. What was your most fascinating experience that you have in terms of doing some fundraising or just explaining this whole process?
I think the one skill that I think is so important is people skills. Like knowing how to talk to people and asking for stuff and knowing how to go about how you're presenting yourself to other people. So it was very difficult, especially in the beginning when you had to like sit there and you're like, hi, can I have some money? And they're like, no. Like you have to at least tell them why and give them a good reason on what you're doing it for.
Okay, so the trip costs $2,700 per student, right? So tell me, how do you plan on getting your $2,700?
I haven't thought about it that way. I always thought about it as a group effort. Because we're always a team. We're always coming together. And like our teachers always say, we're all doing this together. Either way you look at it. So if you don't do it, then I'll do my best to help you. But I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Okay, Joseph, how are you going to get your $2,700? I'm sorry. Dwayne?
Well, I mean, basically what she said, I haven't really thought about that. I've just been going along with the flow and helping, when she calls us, you need to go fundraise, like I'm there, yeah.
I think one of the most important, I remember the Speaker of the House talked about how politics is local, because he was running for office and his next door neighbor, he used to see her all the time, but never bothered to ask her for her vote. She said, you never asked me to vote for you. Had you asked me, I would have done it. So when we talk about politics is local, I'm now saying that sometimes you have the resources very close to you, your family, and especially, if you have aunts or uncles or just anyone that that has a job. And if you say, listen, I'm going to, Costa Rica and I'm trying to raise money. Can you please, donate towards this cause? And I'd be highly indebted to you. And people, you'd be surprised. They will give it to you. The mere fact that you went to them and you asked them. So I really like the fact that, Glenda is making you guys go and raise the money, because aside from raising the money, you're also learning skills here. That skills that you'll be able to use in your future jobs or your future interns and all that interesting stuff. Joseph, is there anything else that you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, we're taking 12 kids on the trip, and I just want to say, regardless of the trip or not, these are some of the best kids in our school, and we have a ton, beyond these 12. But I mean, just to see the kids, how, like, I know Glenda before was talking about how we went to see the mayor and give the presentations. I literally had tears in my eyes sitting at like the conference table, watching them do their thing. I mean, it was impressive. These are kids that, half of them I had as freshmen in English class last year. Just watching them stand up and do their part, of the presentation was breathtaking for me. I'm almost 30, so I'm getting up there.
Oh yeah,
I can be a big brother kind of, but but just to see, a kid. I was in their shoes not that long ago, about half my life ago, and to see them step up and to know that, I mean, going down to Costa Rica, that's at age 16, like we've talked about, is a ridiculously amazing experience that they could have. That, you asked me before about the idea of prejudice and stuff like that, and being from a town that's proudly Italian, but just being able to go to a different country, not just meet people in your own backyard, but to go to a different country and be immersed in that culture is something that I think will really, we say, it sounds cliche, it's going to change their lives, but I honestly feel like it's going to have that lasting effect on these kids and myself, to be honest. And Glenda, I'm sure, being a part of that with them for me is going to be an amazing experience to see them kind of grow and see myself grow, see Glenda grow. Everyone wins.
Thank you so much for this. Now we're gonna go a little bit, because we already learned about Carl and the fact that not only was he a high school principal or a principal here for 35 years in the New Haven Public School System, but he also kept his ties to his country, and he's got a business there, a resource that is really great that, we don't know, even just for guided tours. Maybe when you take a group to Costa Rica, the farm could be a guided tour. Because that's what I used to do when I was as director of the senior center. I once took the seniors to Puerto Rico, and one of the side trips was going to the caverns to see the caverns and then go visit the farm. And my father would think he was the host, like Fantasy Island. Take them and show them the different animals. And he grew sugar cane, because I love to chew on sugar cane. And this was the first time the seniors were actually seeing a sugar cane and how you strip it, and then you bite and you chew on it at the same time. And, it was really wonderful. They loved, out of all of the different places that they went to, they loved the farm experience. And now we have Chuck. And he owns Chestlock Sport Fishing. First, I'd like to know, where does Chuck originally hail from?
State Street, New Haven.
Did you hear that? State Street, New Haven, not too far away.
5 blocks.
5 blocks from us. Tell us a little bit about your growing up in New Haven, about the flea market, and then let's go to the fishing.
I was lucky in a sense living in New Haven on State Street. I went to parochial school, decent education, learned a lot about people. I was very involved in church and religion and altar boys and all of this stuff. So my life experience as a youngster was absolutely incredible in New Haven. I've seen a transition in New Haven over the years. I'm 72 years old, and I've seen the city completely change. And it's good and bad. There's some of the beautiful stuff, the old-time stuff that was here. It's never going to be replaced. I could walk down State Street and it's 80% different than it was when I was a child. But the memories are here, and this is my city. I will never, ever leave New Haven. I live in the Morris Cove area. I live right on a creek, on a dead-end street. That's an oasis, and I have a log cabin, and I am in heaven there. I love my city, and I've had probably 6 or 7 businesses all in New Haven. Most of them on the boulevard. As far as the flea market is concerned, I remember my grandmother was Lithuanian, didn't speak English. We walked to the flea market up State Street. The flea market was where the police department is now. And we walk up State Street. I was 6, 7, 8 years old, my little red flyer wagon, and we'd buy our cabbage and our potatoes and live chickens. I'd carry 2 chickens home and put them in the basement and get them ready. That's how we were brought up and how it's changed so much. It's incredible. But New Haven, no city. I travel a lot. I've been to East Coast, West Coast, Wyoming. I've been all over the place. You'll never find any place better than New Haven. Never. It's got everything. Yes, everything anybody could possibly want.
So tell us about the different businesses that you owned through the years.
Oh God, I had a tire shop, pressure cleaning business, flower shop. I'm getting old. I'm starting to forget them,
So you've been a businessman all your life?
Yeah, I haven't had a job in close to 50 years.
Haven't had a job?
Yeah.
You mean you haven't worked for somebody else?
I've probably worked harder than anybody else has.
Yes.
And it's cost me plenty in relationships and time. When you're own business, you're married. Okay, you're married to a business. And I had a restaurant on Whaley Avenue for 7 years. I was only home 4 days a week because it was a seafood restaurant. And I was nuts about freshness. I don't serve people what I won't eat. So I'm going to New York twice a week all night. I'm going to Rhode Island once a week all night, coming back, staying open for 14 hours. So owning your own business is very, very difficult. But the way the flea market came out, several of my businesses were on the boulevard. And the people that owned the property on the boulevard, they took me in like family. They're just incredibly great people. And I was selling real estate at the time, 25 years ago. And the flea market wasn't doing well. It was faltering. I was a vendor in the flea market 45 years ago selling used tires. We used to sell used tires for $3 each and 2 for $7. It's a match set. I had a tire shop up the street. My brother would set them up to me. I had a great deal going down there. So the people that owned the property there knew how I ran with business. I started business like nothing, okay? So it was faltering, and they asked me to come in as a consultant. Back then, I was selling real estate in the 80s. it was incredible. It was like auctioning off property in the 80s. I'm selling so many houses, and I didn't want to do it. And they made me an offer. Just come in Sunday morning, 2 or 3 hours, get there at 5, and just tell us what's going on. So I get there 5 in the morning. It started in November, which I hate winter. So I'm just watching. A couple of weeks, and then on Monday I'd go into the office and tell them what I saw and what I thought, but what was wrong. After about a month of it, they said, why don't you put a little more time in? We'll give you more money, and you have a red carpet, whatever you want to do. And I'm just good at sensing businesses. I'm very, very good at this here, and I knew it was going to be good. Back then, it was only like 30, 40 vendors. It was only a Sunday morning. And the 3 gentlemen that ran it were not the best people in the world. And when I started seeing what's going on and reporting, they gave me the red carpet. So I decided I'm going to start making decisions down there. So I decided I wanted to get the names of all the vendors. They never had records. There was no records of anybody in that flea market. They identifying by marker numbers, so we know exactly who they are. Then I went down on Sunday morning and said, I'm going to collect the money. Well, that was really a sketchy thing. So we went around with the 3 brothers collecting the money, and I wrote everyone's name down, who paid me what, the whole 9 yards. Monday morning, I go into the office to report to these people. And I give the paper to the secretary, and they count the money, One of the fathers, he says, you sure this is right? I said, if you look at page 2, I'm short $1. I'll give you the $1. I really don't care. It's just, I want to report. I'm honest. It's going to be accurate. He says to me, are you sure it's not some of your money mixed in here? And that's when we caught on to... No, that's when we caught on to what was going on. So eventually
I'm just here listening to this story because it's just so exciting and interesting,
So one by one, I fired all 3 of them. And they said to me, what would you want to do? I need help to run this thing. And they just gave me the flea market, literally. And, well, of course, there's a monetary amount involved. They gave it to me. And since then, it's gone from 30 vendors to several hundred vendors. It's open Saturday and Sunday. I employ 16 people plus 7 policemen.
16 people. Now, tell us, so when you took it over, that it had how many vendors? 30?
There's only 30 or 40.
30
maybe.
or 40 vendors. Okay, what were they predominantly back then, and how has the evolution occurred?
Back then, it was mostly vegetables.
Mostly vegetables?
Vegetables, eggs, bread, stuff like that. And then, little by little, they were mostly local people, farmers here and whatever. And little by little, I'd be getting the vendors out of New York. Who's coming in selling perfume? Who wants them? I'll take their money, whatever. Keep going, going, and going. And if you look at the flea market now, all the old timers are gone. Several have passed away. When they were leaving, I'd go to their house and see if their sons didn't want to be involved in the flea market because the guys did so well in the flea market. They put the kids through college. They're doctors and lawyers. They're not going to go work in a flea market. So that whole era is gone. And so we started bringing in new stuff. And it's there's different kinds of flea markets. Mine is what we call an inner city flea market. You have different ones out, like in one in Wallingford. It's more of an antique, junk collecting. My flea market is mostly clothing, telephone accessories, perfume. We have a few vegetable vendors, mostly Latino vegetables. It's a conglomeration of everything. You want something, you can come down and get it. And it's all in season. We're very strict with the vendors down there. My reputation with the vendors sometimes isn't too good because you have to keep it under control. You're dealing with people out of New York, New Jersey, all different. It's a melting pot of nationalities down there. Who doesn't like who and who's in this row and why am I here? It got really hectic and crazy there for a while. But I took good control of it. My sons work for me, and it's very, very successful today. And I'm very, very happy with it. I gridlocked the boulevard on Sunday and Monday with traffic. I had to go hire another cop just to direct traffic on to keep cars going. You walk through the parking lot, you look at the marker numbers on the cars. New York, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I get busloads of people coming out of Springfield. And this is what it's evolved into. And we're open all year round. Snow, rain, yeah. We're out there all night plowing and salting and to open up in the morning. It's an incredible
Okay,
business.
so that's your Boulevard Flea Market experience. I think it's just really great. Because I myself whenever I want anything, that's the first place I go to, because it's important for us to invest with each other. But now tell us from your flea market experience, now tell us about your sport in Costa Rica.
I've been fishing with my father since I've been a little boy. And I'm a total addicted to fishing. I fish, okay? And one of my sons and I travel the whole East Coast trying to get sailfish. We're not doing good. We get everything but a sailfish. And I want a sailfish. I want a marlin. I want I catch tons of bluefish and striped bass here and porgies and all this here stuff. One of my son's friends had been going to Costa Rica. He says, let's try Costa Rica. So we went to Costa Rica. Oh, my God.
What year did you go to Costa Rica?
It's been 22 years ago.
22 years?
First trip. I've been there now probably 35 times.
My God. That is wonderful.
I go sometimes just with my family. I just decide I'm going to get away for a week, and I'll go with my buddy to Costa Rica, And I worked with this man from Monroe. He owned the business at one time. And he's gotten to his 80s, and he decided he wants to retire. And then him and I became very, very good friends. And he asked me if I'd be interested in taking over the business. The business itself was only in January and February. And then the rest is just all fun. But what I do, I took over the business, I bought him out. And I take guys over there fishing. I'm talking avid fishermen. They were talking the stuff you see on TV and the fighting chairs and stuff. I've caught over 100 sailfish.
Okay, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And then as soon as we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about the fishing and how the business works. Mm-hmm. And how if we're interested in going there, how do we go about it? Yeah. Thank you.
Buenas. Mi nombre es